psychology is the applying psychology that advises space flight attendants, applying industrial and organizational psychology on team selection, mental preparedness, training, beside applying human factors and ergonomics to the spacecraft for sufficient habitability. There are several issues attended by space psychologists while living in space. The issues living in space include psychosocial, psychophysiological, and interpersonal issues that will be discussed next. First is environmental conditions. Radiation, loss of pressure, prolonged confinement, and isolation may expose space flight attendants having space sickness, or also known as space adaptation syndrome. Recent experiments show that space sickness is related to our inner ear that is upset under low gravity. Two separate parts of the inner ear respond to the rotation and sudden changes in the direction experienced by the space crew. However, it normally occurs during the first few days on the space station. Circadian rhythm and sleep. Space crew experience a sunrise every 45 to 90 minutes, unlike us who are on the Earth, exposed to light from the sun keep us synchronized to 24 hours per day. This can result in sleep and wake occurring at an incorrect Hardian phase. This disruption in turn reduces sleep quality and quantity, impairs alertness, reaction time, cognition, and increased risk of fatigue-related accidents besides stress and changes in emotional reaction. NASA is still working to improve these issues by suggesting space blue LED lights to help fight insomnia experienced by the space crew. Crew heterogeneity. Crew heterogeneity refers to the differences in psychological, social, and demographic characteristics of individuals who comprise a flight crew may lead to interpersonal conflict. Common factors that may lead to interpersonal tension among space crew are gender difference, culture difference, career motivation, and experience beside personality. For instance, according to research done in space stimulation environments, have found that space crew who share certain personality characteristics, such as a high need for dominance, do not work well together, whereas people who are compatible and sensitive to each other in a complementary manner do much better. Crew cohesion. To properly accomplish mission goals, it is necessary for space crew members to function in a cohesive manner. Lack in cohesion may lead to major disruption in performance, withdrawal of the space crew members, or lead to subgrouping, where the crew split into factions along social or task-oriented lines, such as doctors versus nurses. However, shared common interests and activities may help to bond crew members together. For example, during leisure period, different hobbies and interests may be shared among the crew members that could stimulate learning and lead to the formation of new social bonds. Study of astronauts and cosmonauts who had flown in space found that the shared experience and excitement of the space flight contribute significantly to enhance crew members' communication. Crew-ground interaction. Conflict between crew members and mission control could be catastrophic, especially if it occurs during a crisis. Isolated space crew have become irrationally angry at people monitoring their behavior. For instance, a study found astronaut perception of the demand placed on them by ground control as excessive, unreasonable, and unclear have led to expression of hostility and perceived lack of support. In addition, ground control personnel have complained of the failure of astronauts to adhere to schedules to follow direction, raising concern on the increased risk of accident and mission failure. Leadership role. Unclear or inappropriate leadership role expressed by the leader at wrong time can produce role confusion, and this may result in group performance problem or in competition between crew members. During space mission, major leadership roles have been identified, which are hardworking, optimistic, and sensitive to the needs of the crew. For instance, democratic participative leader instead of authoritarian leaders. Moreover, different types of leadership roles is necessary according to the demand of the situations, like task-oriented during mission and supportive leadership during space crew having low of motivation, for instance. After knowing what are the issues relates to space, it's time for space psychologists to do their work in conducting psychological examination, develop and apply new monitoring techniques, and be a researcher in order to understand more on how mental processes work while living in space.